Welcome back to Mad Talks Football, and it was a weekend of sackings in the Premier League. Gary O'Neill was sacked from Wolverhampton Wanderers, and then Russell Martin got sacked by Southampton. And let's be very honest, you cannot say that it was not expected by a lot of people that it was, it was gonna happen. So let's go ahead and talk about it by both of them. I will start with Russell Martin and Southampton. It is a bit sad every time when a manager loses a job, especially a person like Russell Martin, like he brought Southampton up from the championship. They had that historic run of being 25 games unbeaten. Then they go to the playoffs, they defeat Leeds United in the finals as well, and they come in the Premier League. And it has sort of become a cliche that whenever everybody makes their predictions, they just name the three teams that have just come up in the Premier League, and they expect them to get relegated. And a lot of the people did that as well. I sort of went with them. I'm not saying like I did not do, but I went for two teams. I really thought that Southampton was no the way that Russell Martin and they played under Russell Martin in the championship. I just had that like, they had a much more better bond that the players and the manager had. I think I felt that that could propel them to safety in the Premier League. And the players that they abroad, I think they had a much better transfer window as compared to Leicester's and the teams around them, and that is why I thought they might be able to somehow survive this. But unfortunately for Russell Martin, that it has not happened in the Premier League for him and his team. The players that he brought in, they have not really lit up the Premier League, or they have not really performed as he would have expected them to perform. And the things and they have been games where they have draw points from silly stupid mistakes. There have been games where they have been ahead for a couple of times. They had, I think that the game against Everton, if I'm not wrong, they were like 2-0 up, and they ended up losing that game. They were 1-0 ahead. They were 10 men. They had an advantage against Newcastle. Newcastle were down and out, like down to 10 men in the ninth minute of the game, and Southampton had so many chances, but they were not able to create. And then Newcastle went ahead and they scored, and they defeated Southampton in that game. So there have been so many instances in the throughout the season till now where they could have easily gotten the 3 points or even somehow get a draw out of it, but they have ended up dropping the points. And I think that has led to Russell Martin getting the second, and the final nail in the coffin was put by Spurs, which is quite ironic because Spurs have been quite dreadful for the last 2 3 weeks. That first half basically killed Russell Martin's career and got him the sack, like 5-0 at the halftime. It is never expected, and it's let's be honest, like 1 win in 16 games, it is not really acceptable. How much of a good relationship you have with the fans, or how much of the backing the board gives you. They need results, like you need to do something, but and it was not happening for Russell Martin. And as I said, that Spurs game was basically that, and the statement that they gave out, like it was, I think it was a very well worded statement, if I'm being very honest with you. They constantly said that it was a difficult decision because he brought them up and all that, and then that they in a way they have shown that we backed him a lot. The rumors have been there for him to go for a couple of weeks, but they kept on giving him the chances and chances. And I think I personally think that even if they would have lost against Tottenham this weekend in like a 2-1 win or a 3-2 win or a 3-1 defeat like that, I don't think he gets the sack. But I think it's just the way that they got defeated. I think that it almost became like humiliating for them, that they needed to do something, and I think that was the reason he got the sack. And that is why it was done so quick, like within a couple of hours after the game it was announced, and it was done. I think the decision was made at halftime, to be very honest, that he was gonna go. So quite a sad day. As I said, it is not a good thing whenever a manager loses a job, because of course it's not only the manager that is responsible. A lot of the time players are the ones who also mess up, but ultimately the manager has to go, and he has left. They said that the under 21 boss is going to be the one taking the charge until they announce the replacement. So we'll see what happens there. And the problem for them is now the games are going to come very thick and fast. This is the festive period. Premier League, you're going to have games, 3 games within a week in the Premier League, so it's going to be very tough for the new guy, whoever comes in. So it will be interesting to see that also, who they bring in, to see what happens at Southampton. Coming to Wolves, I mean, it is such a big mess. Like what has happened to Wolves, Wolverhampton Wanderers last season, and for them I would say, like, you can clearly go ahead and blame the owners. Like you cannot really blame the manager, if I'm being very honest with you. What happened with with them last season. They sacked Lopetegui just before the season was about to start, and Gary O'Neill came in and he sort of brought the club back together. The players, the way that they performed last season, they finished 14th with when everybody thought that everything was gonna go away and it is gonna be a disaster. He somehow brought them back, and he sort of had gelled the club together. In the summer though, they sell most a couple of their good players as well, and the ones that they recruited, again, this is the thing, transfer windows are so tricky sometimes, especially when you lose important players like Wolves did. For the new guys to come in, they have to perform, but unfortunately for Garry O'Neill and Wolves, they were not really able to do that. And what has been happening for the last couple of weeks, like the incident a couple of a week back, then what happened at Ipswich as well. I mean, Quansard going against the security guard, Ryan Ite, getting that second yellow card as well. I mean, it is really unbelievable what is happening. Players fighting amongst themselves. A couple of weeks back, Jose Sa, going at it with a fan as well. So the harmony that Garry O'Neill sort of brought, the unity between the fans and the players and the managers. I am not going to include the owners because I don't think the fans ever really forgive the owners, or were never really happy with the owners, and it continued. But I think that there was something that Garry O'Neill built between the fans and the players and the manager, which basically went away in the last a month or so. Because let's be honest, nobody really thought at the start of the season that Wolves were going to have this much problems. They were going to be in such a dire situation, but that has happened, and they lost against Ipswich. I really did not think that they were going to lose that game, but they lost that, and this is the problem, and I think that was the final nail in coffin as well. That was the final straw that brought the Elephants back. It was really ugly, since you don't want to see that. And again, just like Russell Martin, I think that incident led to Cooper getting the Garry O'Neill getting the sack, because I think it does not reflect a good on the club. And this was the first time as well where Garry O'Neill basically publicly criticized his players for that set piece. They have conceded 40 goals and half of them have been the set piece goals, and he basically said that if the players do what I have told them to and we concede the goal, I take the responsibility. But a couple of players did not do what I told them, and that is why we conceded the goal. So when the manager publicly starts to blaming the players, you basically know that the writing to the wall. And it happened as just like Martin, like a couple of hours after game, it was announced that Garry O'Neill is gone. And I think that it's a big shame, because I think he's a great it's quite a good manager, if I'm being very honest with you. I think at another club with a board that is going to back him, I think Garry O'Neill could do a lot better than at what he did at Wolves, with basically not being given any finances by the owners. I think with a better club, I think he would do quite a good job, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, another couple of managers have been sacked. So that's like 4 seconds sackings already in the Premier League, if I'm not wrong. Cooper, Ten Hag, there are 4 already, and we have not even reached Christmas. So it's quite interesting. Ange Postecoglou is now the favorite for a lot of people. They think that Postecoglou is gonna be the one. It is quite interesting. When I was making the predictions, I said that this is this could be the one game where Spurs drop the points, because I thought the way that Spurs were playing, I thought they might end up dropping the points, and or might even get a shock defeat, and Postecoglou might get the sack. I really did say that. I said that this game could be the one where Postecoglou get the sack, but unfortunately it has flipped, and it happened for Russell Martin, and he got the sack. So it's funny how things work. I went for the other guy, and instead of happening to him, it happened to the to Russell Martin. So at the end of the day, it's quite sad, but it's part and parcel of the game. It will be interesting to see who these clubs bring in and how they get them out of it, because at the moment both of them are struggling. Southampton 20th, Wolverhampton Wanderers 19th. So both the clubs are struggling, and they really need a miracle to get out of that relegation scrap at the moment. That's it for me in this video. Let me know what you guys think of the entire situation. For Southampton fans, Saint fans, are you happy that Martin is gone, or do you think he was the scapegoat? And same for the Wolves fan as well. And the interesting thing for the Wolves fan was like, even though they were losing and all the shit was happening, all the chants were against the owners and the chairman. Nobody really not one single chant was against the manager. So basically even the Wolverhampton Wanderers fans, they know that he's not at fault. It is the guys behind him who are not really helping him, it's already known that Wolves fans don't really like their owners. So still, let me know, are you happy with this, with the decision, or do you think he should have been, given the chance to fix the mess that Wolves are in currently? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like the video, share it as well, click on the notification bell, and of course subscribe to the channel. We are trying to get to 400 subscribers before the end of this year, so please go ahead and subscribe and help the channel out. Until next time, bye bye.